The Paladins are in Oshawa for the rematch against the UOIT Ridgebacks. The Paladins look to rebound after a 7-1 loss to the Carleton Ravens on Saturday, hopefully taking 2 points away from the Dog Pound. Earlier in the week, the Paladins are hit by 2 separate big pieces of news that shocked the program.
2014, Major Danny McLeod died at the age of 92. Major McLeod was a decorated veteran from World War II, and after the war went on to become the first director of athletics at the Royal Military College. Danny was the driving force behind the creation of the CIAU, now the CIS. In 1961, he organized the first ever Canadian University Men's Hockey Championship, the University Cup. In 2003, the Major Danny McLeod Award for the MVP of the National Championship Tournament was established. Major McLeod simultaneously coached the RMC Paladins, the Kingston Frontenacs, and the Kingston Aces. Following his retirement from RMC, he joined the NHL as a supervisor of officials and trained all officials for the 1972 Summit Series between Canada and the USSR. In 2011, the CIS honored him with the Austin Matthews Award, presented annually to an individual who has made an outstanding contribution to inter-university sports. Danny is a legendary figure in Canadian sports history and is the father of men's CIS hockey.
Danny was a stalwart supporter of the team, and I mean, he was a big part of the legacy that we built as an RMC hockey program. I mean, obviously we're one of the most storied programs in the CIS, but to have a guy like Danny, who not only was a decorated veteran, but he worked for years tirelessly to help stand up the CIS as an organization, and then to really help build RMC's legacy. So I mean, obviously it's a huge loss for our program, and we appreciate what he did for us.
The puck stops here, and because of it, Evan DeViller helped the Paladins to their initial victory of the season. It was a 50-save performance against Oshawa's University of Ontario Institute of Technology that did the trick.
Morale was a little low, and that really picked things up, so I'm hoping, and I'm excited for the rest of the season to see what that brings. The main focus would be the next shot. It's always the next shot. You can't look at everything else. It's just save that next puck. That's the way I look at it.
Every day, smile, hard work. He competes. He just loves to compete. Yeah, and that does reflect most of the team. To be honest, he's a good reflection of it in terms of these guys have competed regardless of the situation, regardless of the night.
In the meantime, DeViller and his teammates continue to prepare not only for the rest of the season, but a couple of huge matchups: the annual Carr-Harris Cup and the traditional West Point game.
Those games are huge, and they bring in crowds from everywhere, and we do look forward to those, but you know, it's still playoffs. We're not giving up on that dream, so it's still very much present in the dressing room, and that's what we're shooting for.
They had their period. We have ours. This one's up for grabs. It's not about greatness. It's not about doing something spectacular. That's not going to win the game. What's going to win the game is 20 minutes with attention to the system. It's chipping the puck. It's defending first before you leave the zone. It's firing on net and driving net. It's maybe I can thread it through 3 guys to a high guy open. No, it's keeping the puck, rounding it down again so we can play some more offense. This is it for us. You want to have a sniff of being a playoff team and what it's going to take if we get there. This is the period. Okay. It's not going to be won in the first minute. It's not going to be won in the 5th minute. It's going to be won by all 20 minutes together. You came back together. You're going to win this period together, and then we're going to go on together. Give me 20 minutes of perfect execution of what we're trying to do. If we do that, we're going to feel good when we get back in. All right, let's go.
After 2 periods of play, the Ridgebacks and the Paladins were deadlocked at 3-3. It was 3-0 after the first for UYT as Luke Van Marker, Shane Bennett, and Cam Ewell all scored. The second period was all Paladins as Eric Louis-Size scored in a tip shot, Mitch Houston batted a puck out of mid-air, and Kyle Phillips scored on a shorthanded breakaway to tie it at 3. Teams traded chances in the third period and in overtime, but we were headed to the shootout. The Paladins will gain a point in the playoff march with the shootout loss to UYT. Up next, a familiar face from the McGill Redmen on Saturday.
Fleming, Flem was of all the goalies I played with my entire career. He never ceased to be a competitor. I mean, every practice, every game, he was always hard on, working his hardest, and he was a great role model for guys to follow in that sense. So he's definitely a force to be reckoned with when he's on his game. And when he was with us, he definitely won us a few games just on his own effort. So he's fun to play against, but we'll see how it goes tomorrow.
In what seemed like a shocking decision to Paladins fans, Andrew Fleming did not start in his final game against RMC. RMC goaltender Paul Dorsey was bombarded with Redmen shots all game. He faced 21 shots in the first period and 23 in the second. McGill would build up a 6-1 lead after 2 periods with the lone RMC goal coming by Scott McDonald. But the Paladins would win the third period when Frederick Twain scored with 1:40 left in the third for a 7-2 McGill win. RMC looks to rebound with round 2 against the Gaels just 3 days away.